Ido, you want to know the quickest way to make a self-absorbed person completely lose interest in you? Here are 7 powerful actions that will cause them to leave and let you live in peace permanently. And the 7th step is so potent that they will begin avoiding you like a serious illness they cannot risk catching. Many people mistakenly think the only way to handle a narcissist is to fight them, argue back, or try to prove their own correctness. But engaging in this behavior is precisely what keeps the narcissist hooked, because it satisfies their intense desire for attention, conflict, and control. What truly works is when you become tranquil, peaceful, and completely unaffected by them. This makes you instantly uninteresting to them. You stop supplying the emotional energy they feed on. Today, I will clearly show you exactly how to make this happen, step by step. Before we start, let's establish one vital point. This guide is not about revenge or manipulating them. This is about protecting your peace of mind, your personal power, and your mental health. Narcissists are like emotional vampires. They survive on your emotional reactions, your energy, your fear, your anger, and your sadness. As long as you continue to react, they will perpetually return for more. Studies and psychological insights both confirm that narcissists genuinely believe they own you. In their mind, you belong to them. You are not seen as a person with personal freedom. You are viewed as a resource of emotional supply that they can access whenever they desire. But here is the vital truth they desperately want to keep hidden. This entire false belief system collapses the second you stop playing your required role in their game. When you refuse to react, to pursue them, or to offer explanations, they completely lose control. So let's explore the 7 things that cause narcissists to lose interest and leave you alone forever. And trust me, the 7th step holds the greatest power of all. The first thing you must do is stop providing emotional reactions. Narcissists consume your emotions as their fuel source. They genuinely do not care if you love them or despise them. What matters to them is that you are still reacting, that you still care enough to feel something intense. When you shed tears, plead with them, argue intensely, or try to justify your actions, you are giving them exactly what they crave. Consider it like dealing with a spoiled child. When a child throws a huge tantrum and receives attention for it, they quickly learn that tantrums are effective. Narcissists follow the same principle, except they are adults with the emotional regulation of a young child. When you react, they feel strong. But when you cease reacting, when you remain calm and emotionally unresponsive, they completely lose control. Initially, they will likely try even harder. They will say harsh things, attempt to provoke a response, or even pretend to change their behavior. They will do anything possible to get a reaction. But when you give them nothing, no fury, no sorrow, no excitement, they start to deflate. Because what is the point of putting on a performance when the audience has completely stopped watching? This doesn't mean faking indifference. It means you have truly reached a point where their opinions, insults, and drama have zero meaning for you anymore. That is genuine inner strength. The second thing is to implement total no contact properly. Many individuals mistakenly think they are practicing no contact, but they continually allow small exceptions. Real no contact means absolutely zero communication, zero curiosity about their life, and zero checking up on them. Experts identify 5 main ways people break contact without realizing it: direct messages, indirect messages sent through others, checking their social media, driving near their home, or asking mutual friends for updates. You must completely close every single one of these entry points. Imagine a thief walking through a neighborhood. They arrive at a house with a locked gate, security cameras, bright lights, and a loud dog. They walk away immediately. But if they spot a house with easily accessible windows and no alarm, that is where they choose to enter. Narcissists think in the same manner. They are constantly looking for the easiest way in. Therefore, if you make access difficult, they will move on. That is why your no contact must be absolute. Block their phone number, block them on all social media platforms, and even change your phone number if necessary. Inform mutual acquaintances that you do not want to hear any updates about them and that you will not be giving any updates either. But here is the most challenging part: you also have to stop checking on them yourself. Every time you view their profile or inquire about them, you are breaking your own personal rule. Somehow they always manage to sense it. But when you maintain total silence, you effectively become invisible to them. And narcissists cannot manipulate what they cannot see. They cannot control what they cannot reach. They might occasionally test your resolve, but if you never respond, they will eventually give up their attempts. The third thing is to completely stop defending or trying to explain yourself. Narcissists are experts at twisting your words and making you feel that you must constantly justify your actions. They will falsely accuse you of things you never did just to keep you engaged in conversation. The more time you spend explaining, the deeper you fall into their carefully set trap. When you feel the need to defend yourself, you are accepting the notion that you require their approval. You are granting them the authority to judge your inherent worth. But imagine what happens when you simply stop. If they label you as selfish and you calmly respond, okay. If they claim you never cared and you simply state, that is your perception. Instantly, they lose control because their entire manipulation depends on your need to be understood by them. When you stop caring about what they think, they cannot inflict pain upon you. You do not need their approval to confirm who you are as a person. You do not have to prove your goodness, your commitment, or your affection, because, in their view, none of that truly matters. This does not mean you allow serious lies to spread. If someone at work poses a threat to your job, of course, you defend yourself in a professional capacity, but in personal relationships, the most powerful response is silence. Refuse to participate in their game. When you stop offering explanations, you clearly show them that their opinions hold no power over you anymore. You are effectively declaring, "You do not define me any longer." And that is a reality narcissists simply cannot bear. The fourth thing is to become genuinely indifferent. Faking indifference will not work because narcissists are skilled at sensing fake energy. Genuine indifference means you have healed so deeply that you truly do not care about what they are doing, who they are spending time with, or what things they might be saying. They have become completely irrelevant to you emotionally. You no longer check for their updates, wonder about the details of their life, or hold out hope that they might miss you. They are simply another person in the world who no longer has any access to your feelings. To reach this state, you must allow yourself to grieve. You have to mourn the illusion, the version of them you desperately wished was real. You have to accept the hard truth that the person you once loved never truly existed in the way you imagined. Once you successfully process that pain, you gain profound peace. You then begin to see them for exactly what they are, not powerful, not mysterious, but deeply insecure and broken individuals. You realize that their cruelty stems from a place of deep emptiness. Their need for control is rooted in fear. And once you understand that, you completely stop taking their behavior personally. They lose their hold on you entirely. True indifference is not hate. Hate still provides them with fuel. Indifference means you feel absolutely nothing, just a peaceful neutrality. You stop trying to understand them, fix them, or change them. They simply cease to exist within your emotional world. That is when you finally become truly free. The fifth step is to focus entirely on building your own life. This is the stage where real, lasting healing begins. You stop existing as a reaction to their presence or absence. You stop posting things just to make them jealous. You stop doing activities solely to prove your worth to them. You stop going to places hoping to accidentally run into them. You stop asking yourself, what will they think if I do this? Instead, you begin to live exclusively for yourself. You initiate new personal projects, connect with genuinely kind people, and actively pursue your own dreams. You invest your valuable time doing things that excite you, rather than constantly replaying the past events. You invest in your personal growth, your physical health, and your joy, and something truly amazing starts to happen. You start to radiate peace from within. Your energy becomes calm, genuinely happy, and completely fulfilled. Narcissists absolutely hate this because it destroys their illusion that you desperately need them. They want you to be miserable, broken, and constantly missing them. But when you are fully living your best life, their control completely fades away. When you focus on yourself, you no longer have any available time to think about their chaos. You are far too occupied building a peaceful life. You stop comparing your accomplishments to theirs. You stop competing. You stop explaining yourself. You stop caring. And that newfound peace becomes your protective shield. It prevents you from ever being pulled back into the old destructive patterns. The sixth thing is to stop trying to expose them or change them. This is often one of the most difficult steps because your deep sense of justice shouts that they must be held accountable for their actions. You feel an urge to warn other people. You want the world to fully see the harm they inflicted. But every time you attempt to expose them, you provide them with more energy, because even negative attention is still attention. They truly do not care if you hate them. They only care that you are still actively talking about them. When you attempt to expose them, they usually play the role of the victim and expertly twist the narrative. They will manipulate others into believing that you are obsessed, overly bitter, or emotionally unstable. They are typically charming to outsiders, and they have likely already told people their distorted version of the story. So when you speak up, your words often sound like proof confirming their lies. It is frustratingly unfair, but it is reality. The same principle applies to trying to change them. You simply cannot fix someone who adamantly refuses to acknowledge they have a problem. Sending them articles about narcissism, begging them to seek professional help, or trying to explain their harmful patterns, all of that just gives them more control. It keeps you emotionally involved. Their personal healing is not your responsibility. Their eventual self-awareness is not your duty. You cannot successfully teach empathy to a person who has no desire to feel it. When you stop trying to change or expose them, you reclaim your essential energy. You stop being the supporting hero in their story and become the leading main character in your own life. That is the true victory. The best revenge is simply living a good life, not to cause them pain, but to heal yourself completely. When you are happy, strong, and at peace, that is the single thing they can never take away from you. And now for the seventh and final step. Become completely emotionally unavailable as a source of supply. This is the ultimate, most powerful form of freedom. It is when you are not only physically distant, but you are emotionally untouchable. They can no longer trigger any reaction in you because you have totally detached from the need for their approval or their attention. When they send a text message, you do not respond. When they attempt to insult you, you do not flinch. When they offer praise, you do not soften. You remain completely steady, calm, and grounded. You provide them with absolutely nothing. No anger, no false love, no pity, no detailed explanation. You become as immovable as a solid rock. Not cold out of hatred, but peaceful out of profound inner strength. When you reach this level, you do not just make one specific narcissist lose interest. You stop attracting such people entirely. They possess an instinct that senses when someone has no available emotional supply to give, and they will immediately move on. You become invisible to toxic individuals, but completely magnetic to genuinely kind ones. You start drawing people into your life who match your newfound peace instead of those who try to challenge it. Becoming emotionally unavailable is not about falsely pretending to be strong. It is about becoming truly healed on the inside. It is about realizing that your internal peace is far too valuable to waste on people who actively drain it. When you are emotionally unavailable to manipulation, you are completely free. You can finally live your life without their toxic shadow constantly following you. So, there you have it. The 7 powerful ways to make narcissists leave you alone for good. Stop providing emotional reactions. Implement and maintain firm no contact. Stop defending or justifying your actions. Become genuinely indifferent to them. Focus entirely on building your own life. Stop trying to expose or change them. And finally, become emotionally unavailable as a source of supply. This entire process is not about punishing them or achieving a win over them. It is solely about reclaiming your peace, your joy, and your self-respect. When you consistently follow these steps, you don't just make them lose interest. You set your whole self free. The true goal is not to cause them harm. The ultimate goal is to completely heal you. Sometimes the most powerful action you can ever take is to walk away quietly and simply never look back. Not because you hate them, but because you have finally learned to love yourself more deeply. You owe them no pain, no reaction, and no sense of closure. You owe yourself profound peace. When you choose to rise above their games and stop responding to their manufactured chaos, you become untouchable. You transform into the one thing they cannot control, calm, well-grounded, and free. And that is when you truly win, not by defeating them, but by finally choosing to save yourself. If this message has been helpful to you, keep seeking knowledge, keep growing, and keep choosing peace every single day. Because the life waiting for you beyond their control is far more beautiful and peaceful than you can currently imagine. When you finally successfully break free from that destructive cycle, something truly remarkable begins to happen within you. You start to see clearly how much of your life was dedicated to trying to earn affection from someone who fundamentally never had any genuine love to offer. You realize how many countless times you desperately explained yourself, hoping they would finally understand, only to be completely misunderstood yet again. You begin to understand that the constant arguments, the deep confusion, the sudden, intense affection, immediately followed by cruelty, none of it was ever your fault. It was entirely part of their calculated plan to keep you trapped within their web. Narcissists expertly build emotional traps that systematically make you doubt your own inherent worth. So, when you finally manage to step out, the air around you feels profoundly different, lighter, cleaner, more peaceful. That silence that once filled you with fear now becomes your personal sanctuary. At first, the lack of noise might feel like a huge loss. You might miss the intensity, perhaps even the chaos, because your nervous system had become addicted to it. It is not true love you miss. It is the intense, emotional roller coaster. That is the devastating effect of trauma bonding. It rewires your brain to constantly crave the very person who inflicts pain on you. But as time passes, the fog of confusion clears away. You start sleeping more deeply. You begin to genuinely smile again for no particular reason. You start feeling truly safe and secure in your own space. That is the unmistakable sign that you are healing completely. The narcissist may delusionally believe they broke you, but in reality, they only pushed you directly toward your own awakening. You see, narcissists never anticipate their victims will ever rise above them. They expect you to remain broken, to keep endlessly replaying the painful story in your mind, to keep hoping desperately for closure. But the greatest closure you will ever receive is the deep understanding that you do not need any from them. You do not need their apology. You do not need them to admit they were incorrect. You do not need to hear the words, "I am sorry," because their words were never truly real to begin with. Their apologies are calculated strategies, never sincere expressions of regret. Once you fully grasp that truth, you stop waiting patiently. You actively reclaim your personal power. You move forward with your life without any need for them. Healing from a relationship with a narcissist is certainly not a rapid process, but it is profoundly worth every single step. It feels like emerging from a dark cave after years spent inside. Initially, the bright light might hurt your eyes, but very soon you begin to perceive colors you had completely forgotten existed. You start to notice small, simple joys, the sound of your own genuine laughter, the deep comfort of peaceful solitude, the beauty of quiet mornings where no one is there to judge you. You start to remember who you were before the manipulation began, before the self-doubt took hold, before the constant lies. You reconnect completely with your own true soul. And as you heal fully, you start to attract different kinds of people. You stop drawing individuals who drain your energy because your own personal energy has changed its vibration. Healthy, emotionally mature people instantly recognize your peace and genuinely respect it. Emotionally broken people feel uncomfortable around your peace and quickly drift away. That is precisely how you know you are growing stronger. When peace begins to feel utterly normal and chaos feels strangely alien, you stop pursuing intensity and start craving calm stability. You realize that true love does not have to involve pain. Real love is gentle, kind. Real love is consistent and dependable. Real love feels entirely safe. Narcissists cannot survive in that kind of healthy, peaceful environment. They absolutely require confusion, conflict, and control to feel energized and alive. When you no longer provide them with that necessary fuel, they lose all interest instantly. They will then look for someone new who still believes their surface charm, who still actively reacts, who still provides their energy freely. Let them go. You are not the solution to their internal emptiness. You are not their savior, their personal therapist, or their emotional crutch. You were never meant to fix them. You were meant to learn a profound lesson from them. To learn where and how you allowed your power to be given away and how to ensure you never do it again. That is why your healing journey is not just a recovery, it is a complete transformation. The version of you that quietly tolerated disrespect no longer exists. The version that relentlessly kept explaining has learned the profound power of silence. The version that begged for affection now gives love to themselves first. You have evolved profoundly. You have grown into a person who will no longer accept crumbs of affection because you have built your own beautiful table. You have learned that peace is not dull, it is sacred. There will inevitably be moments when you still feel emotionally triggered. Old memories might unexpectedly surface. You might hear a particular song or see a stray message that reminds you of them. But instead of completely breaking down, you will pause, take a deep breath, and realize definitively you survived. You successfully made it out. They no longer hold control over your emotions. That profound realization hits deeply. It is like fully reclaiming a part of your own soul they once tried to steal. Every single time you remain silent instead of reacting, you win. Every time you consciously choose peace over embracing chaos, you win. Every time you walk away, instead of trying to prove yourself right, you win. And every time you smile at your own reflection, knowing you no longer need their toxic validation, you truly win. That is real victory. Not the kind that requires a large audience, but the quiet, deeply powerful kind that happens entirely inside your spirit. In time, you will stop obsessing over whether they think about you. You will stop endlessly asking why they did the things they did. You will stop trying to logically make sense of something that was never built upon any form of reason. Narcissists do not operate from a place of love. They operate entirely from a place of deep fear, fear of being just ordinary, fear of being overlooked, fear of being exposed. They wear confidence like a well-crafted mask to hide their profound internal emptiness. You no longer need to understand them because their destructive behavior already told you everything you needed to know. Your new chapter is not about seeking revenge. It is about a complete rebirth. You are becoming the stronger version of yourself that they actively tried to destroy, the version that knows their intrinsic worth, deeply values their peace, and trusts their own intuition completely. You stop doubting yourself and finally start listening to that quiet inner voice that was warning you all along. You start believing fully in your own capabilities again. You stop unnecessarily apologizing for your firm boundaries. You stop shrinking yourself to make other people feel more comfortable. You start living boldly, freely, and peacefully. And that, above all else, is when the narcissist truly loses everything. Not when you argue with them, not when you expose them to others, but when you heal so profoundly that their name no longer triggers any reaction in you. That is when you have definitively won the final battle. They can no longer touch you emotionally, mentally, or spiritually. You have stepped entirely out of their reach forever. So if you are currently still in a place of confusion or pain, hold firm. Healing requires time, but every single day you maintain no contact. Every day you refuse to provide a reaction. Every day you consciously choose peace over emotional turmoil. You are moving closer to your permanent freedom. Do not measure your progress by how quickly you stop thinking about them. Measure it by how little power those passing thoughts now hold over you. You are not the same person they initially met. You are much stronger, far wiser, and immensely more self-aware. In the end, the narcissist inadvertently taught you something invaluable: how to protect your essential energy, how to trust your powerful intuition, and how to place the highest value on your own peace. Pain became your necessary teacher, but complete healing became your graduation. You do not require closure from them because you have already closed that difficult chapter yourself. Now is the time to truly live. It is time to actively create a life filled with genuine love, profound truth, and calm stability. A life where your heart finally feels safe,